In 2019, my life was split into two halves. Half one, I worked in a sandwich shop in Lille. I finished my shift at about 3 p.m. smelling like bread and ham and head home after that. And second half, I would sit down with my computer and try to engineer my way into a corporate life in France. Back in the day, there was no ChatGPT or Google Gemini, and my typing speed was 89 words per minute, and I had a rat mustache. I just thought you should know. And I had a master's degree, and I was living in France for 3 years at this point. I had done 2 internships, and I was offered a 1,500 euro per month after tax internship. You don't pay taxes when you're an intern. And I wanted a little bit more because I had a debt. A couple of weeks later, I signed my first CDI contract, that's the permanent contract in France, for 44,000 euros. Today I'm going to show you the exact preparation I did that helped me go from a struggling waiter who can't pay back his debt to a corporate manager who can pay back his debt. And I did it pretty fast in a year and change. I'm also going to show you how I negotiated a work permit, which many people think are impossible for a fresher. Most people take the APS route. I did not take that. I took another route, and that's what I'll talk about in this video. See, when you're an expat, you feel that you have to take whatever they give you because you have this visa deadline. You have a couple of months before which you need to get a job. And if you don't get this, then you have to leave. So I call this visa hostage situation. Because it's kind of true. You have to take what they give you because if you don't find anything, your time is up. In order to break through this, I needed to find a lot of information, a lot of data, reliable data of how much these companies actually pay freshers and how many jobs are out there in the market. So I looked at the requirements, and the Passport Talent is currently at 39,582 euros. I swear this was 44,000 back in 2019 when I applied. And then there's the Carte Bleue, which starts at 59,373 euros. These numbers are a good target because people in France are getting these jobs, you know. I also found reports from the European Commission, among others, which pointed out how many jobs are actually available in the market right now for the sector that I was looking at. So if the French government is saying that people in France are making this kind of money and these many jobs are available and I'm a junior, to put these three together, how much money are juniors making? Can I make that much money to start with? How do you know? So I asked my business school if they have this kind of information, and of course they did. They shared with me an Excel file where they removed the names of the students, but they showed the average income one made from that company, and these were real numbers from hirings that happened in my school with my classmates who already got a job and I hadn't got a job yet. So this is extremely reliable, and the numbers kind of tallied out. Getting a 1,500 euro internship at the end of this was definitely not a good deal. To be doubly sure, I reached out to people who are 2 or 3 years ahead of me. For every 10 people I reached out to, 1 person would respond, and getting on a 10-minute phone call with them was so helpful because they gave you such excellent data about how much money they made when they started off 3 years ago and what would be the average for a beginner in their company for this kind of role. So I would only contact the people who are in my universe. I've compiled all of this information in this blog post called Financial Benefits of Living in France. If you really want to know the floor of the market, what's the minimum one should make? The link to this blog should be in the description. Now, before the interview, I went into a 3-week preparation drive. I just wanted to make sure I'm the most prepared for this interview. Because I'm coming out from a business school and this is a role specifically in data. They're hiring somebody in the management world, but specifically for a product that is software. So I need to be prepared for this. My business school did not train me for this. I was really surprised why these corporates would pay so much money for these tasks because I did not understand the value of these tasks. So I had to understand that. And that came from researching. So I found myself reading Reddit pages and so many Yahoo answer pages to understand what is MSBI, what is data warehousing, what is Informatica, and why do you need a consultant among all this, what the different engineers do, just to understand what the consultancy does. The rationale behind this was if I come extremely well prepared while I've never worked in this area, that's definitely going to turn some heads. That's the first part during the interview. And secondly, the idea was if this company rejects me, then I'll go to another company that does a similar thing, and these skills, this knowledge is transferable in the same industry. So that's what rationalized the number of hours I put into this. I would read about this for 4 or 5 hours straight. And the internet is such a beautiful place. If you know exactly what you're looking for, you will find it. Very often, we don't know the exact question to ask. If you know the right question to ask, you can learn so much with just the internet. The interview went really well. There was a rapport with the interviewer. He asked me a couple of questions and he was quite impressed by how much I knew in this area. And then the offer came. He said 1,500 euros. We're looking for an internship to start with. And this was really a low ball. I was not expecting this. I was expecting a little more. Most people would just say thank you and accept this because of that visa deadline. But I went to speak to my school about this and they were extremely instrumental in helping me negotiate up from this 1,500 euro mark. I told them, you clearly have a client where you want to place me. What's exactly holding you back from making me a full-term offer? And they said, security, safety, we're not sure if you would be up to the task. I responded by email saying that I understand that you want to minimize risk, but let's use the trial period, the legal trial period for the first 3 months to see if I'm good at this job or not. And in the first 3 months, if you're not so convinced, you can say goodbye and you don't have to pay me anything after that. But in order to show up and give my best quality of work, I need to make sure that my work permit is taken care of. And that would need 44,000 euros. That's the passeport talent salarié qualifié. I dropped that number and I walked away. The HR was probably taken off guard, but if you've done your preparation well, then ask for what you're worth, you know? They took a whole month to come back to me, and that silence was deafening. I would go to work in my sandwich shop every day, looking at my phone, expecting an email, and coming back home and applying to more companies because there was nothing on the table. The first silence you face is such a difficult time because you've never worked on a full term here in France. Once you've had a couple of jobs, then maybe it gets a little easier. But before, it's really deafening because you ask this big number, what if they just said no, you're back to square one and you have a debt back at home. You got to believe in yourself a bit as well because you have looked at what the market averages were. You didn't just pull out a number, 150,000 euros from your hat, you know? A lot of solace at this time came from talking to the representatives in my business school. I spoke to the career counselor, I spoke to the dean, and they took their time to share with me that I'm not asking for too much. In fact, one of the deans also shared with me that we will work with you on a refinancing strategy where we will find you a debt here in France so that you don't have to pay this high interest which is compounded like you're doing back in India. And then you can find another job which is giving you that beginning salary that the company offered you in the first place. If they offered it to you, somebody else will. So be patient and wait for your response. If it doesn't come out, we'll help you. And this was really a lot of weight off my shoulders to not be alone looking at this problem and fighting with this corporate situation, you know. It was very, very helpful. I finally came back with 36,000 euros and I was not really happy about it because I won't get my passport talent thing, you know. So I asked them, well, you can review my salary in a couple of months if you like, but I'm definitely going to need 44,000 euros. I even told them that they can put up a new clause. If I don't have a valid work permit in a year, 2 years, if I don't have a valid work permit, then this contract is void. They hired a lawyer, wrote something down, and they gave it to me because now they don't have to worry about sponsoring for my work permit at all. That's on me now. And this came as a discussion with my business school as well. So the moment I got my job, they did agree at 44,000 euros. That was the happiest day of my life in France. For the first time, I was an adult who could pay his own rent and pay back the debt that he took for his business school. But the moment that happened, I went back to my business school and asked them exactly how I can get my work permit. Should I take the APS? It's a little too late for that. What do I do? So I collected a bunch of documents from my employer, applied for the salarié qualifié, and I got it. And I was over the moon. I think it was the most stressful 3-4 months in my entire stay here in France, and that was 5 years ago. Finally, after getting this job, I found other young professionals who had found their own creative way to get a nice job in a nice company. And then I changed companies and life has been okay ever since. If there's one thing that you can take away from this video is there's a lot of compounding benefit from investing in skills at the right time. If I had to study the French language, prepare for the interview, make sure that I negotiate all of this stuff in 2 or 3 months, it would be way too much pressure. And I'm glad I staggered it, the French part before, and I leveraged my business school for the negotiation part. I'm really glad that this happened. 3 years is a good amount of time to prepare for getting a nice job, but when you get into the business school, get into this mindset of what is the end goal here, what kind of job am I looking to get, and what is the best thing I can do to get this. If there's a second thing that you can take from this video, it's you don't need to be exceptional. You just need to show up and work, have the skills that you say you have, and persistently apply to these companies. Sooner or later, you'll get some job and then you'll change it for another job and life will be okay. This video was about getting the job. In the next video, I want to talk about how I negotiated my growth within the company to make sure that I don't have the same salary for the next 5 years. And there was a lot of mindset shifts I had to do from a safety, not risk-taking kind of guy to this go-getter kind of guy. I had to make a couple of changes in my mindset, and that came from Ramesh Sethi's book. So I'll talk about that in the next video. And if you want the full blueprint to the move and thriving in France, then check out my handbook, Fit in France. You should find a link down in the description as well. Thank you for tuning into this one. I'll see you next week. Take care of yourselves and keep learning.